Hello everyone, welcome to the next installment of the Speedrunner 0218 December Mania. In the last video of the series, we did Pokemon Leaf Green with the 5 evolutions, and that was honestly one of the hardest videos I've ever worked on, but I think it was worth it in the end. I hope you all thought so. Today, we're going back to the Hoenn region to see who can beat Pokemon Emerald the fastest in a solo run. Groudon, Kyogre, or Rayquaza. These are the 3 weather trio of the Hoenn games. They are all, in my opinion, one of the most powerful legendary trios in all of Pokemon, and you can definitely tell by their base stats. But before we go over that, let's get into the run, shall we? Starting with Groudon, the ground-type legendary Pokemon, it has a base stat total of 670, with 100 HP, 150 attack, which is impressive, 140 defense, 100 special attack, 90 special defense, and 90 speed. 90 speed, you'll pretty much outspeed almost everything in Emerald, so that's quite fine. 100 special attack is still really impressive, and we're going to be taking a lot of physical hits due to our high defense, so that's going to be real nice. Plus our ability is Drought, so every single battle we will set up the sun, which will definitely help if we use a fire move or solar beam. If we take a look at Groudon's moveset though, we start with Mud Shot and Scary Face. Mud Shot I'm really not a huge fan of because it's only 95% accurate, but we have to make do with what we have, right? Plus early game, we're not going to be able to hit a flying type that well until we get Ancient Power at level 15. Then after that we get Slash at level 20, then Bulk Up, Earthquake, Fire Blast, Rest for some reason, Fissure, Solar Beam, and Eruption. Eruption is basically the fire-type version of Water Spout. It does 150 base power when you're at full health, and the lower your health gets, the less power it has. And via TMs, some of the notable moves we get are Dragon Claw, Bulk Up, Hidden Power, Solar Beam, Iron Tail, Thunderbolt and Thunder, which is really good, Earthquake, Return, Dig, Brick Break, Shockwave, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Rock Tomb, Aerial Ace, Secret Power, and Overheat. So definitely a huge variety of moves. Also, since we're doing Pokemon Emerald, we get access to move tutors. However, most of them are blocked in the Battle Frontier, so we won't really have access to them, but there are some one-time move tutors in the main story, as you can see on screen here. The best ones are pretty much Double Edge, Dynamic Punch, Fury Cutter, and Rollout. We also have Substitute if we want it, but we'll see about that. Now let's take a look at Kyogre's stats. It also has a base stat total of 670, with 100 HP, 100 attack, 90 defense, 150 special attack, 140 special defense, and 90 speed. So we're pretty much the same speed as Groudon, same HP, but instead of the 150 attack, we have 150 special attack, and we have the 140 special defense instead of defense. So Kyogre will definitely tank special hits really well. And also for comparison, 150 special attack, that's almost as much special attack as Mewtwo had in Gen 1. In Gen 1, Mewtwo's special was 154. I mean, yes, that counted offensive and defensively, but the special defense is 140, so this thing is kind of like a Mewtwo Lite, so I can't wait to see how this thing goes. In my opinion, we get a much better level up set than Groudon. We start off with Water Pulse and Scary Face. Water Pulse has 5 more base power than Mud Shot, and it's 100% accurate, so we'll always hit it. Plus, with Kyogre's ability Drizzle, it'll set up the rain for every single battle. Water Pulse will be getting a 50% damage boost every single battle. That's also on top of a 50% same type attack bonus. So Water Pulse is going to be dealing extraordinary amounts of damage. And then we get Ancient Power at level 15, then Body Slam, Calm Mind, which is really good. I'll pretty much be able to get that before Tate and Liza. And then Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, Rest, Sheer Cold, Double Edge, and Water Spout. We don't get as many TMs as Groudon, but we still get the good ones. We get Water Pulse, Calm Mind, Hidden Power, Rain Dance, which is kind of useless for a Kyogre, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Earthquake, Return, Brick Break, Rock Tomb, Shockwave, and Secret Power. So yeah, at least we get all the electric moves. Funnily enough, since the rain will always be up, we could actually use Thunder if we want, because in the rain, Thunder skips accuracy checks. So yeah, we'll see about that. Finally is the superior of the 3, Rayquaza. It has a base stat total of 680, which is 10 higher than Groudon or Kyogre. It gets 105 HP, 150 attack, 90 defense, 150 special attack, 90 special defense, and 95 speed. So yeah, it is slightly faster, but the other two are pretty much going to outspeed everything anyway. But the thing is with Rayquaza, we can hit hard whether we use a physical attack or a special attack. But the one disadvantage Rayquaza has is that due to its dual typing, we have a 4 times weakness to Ice, and there is an Ice type Elite Four member, so that will definitely be a concern. Our moveset is honestly the worst compared to the other two. We start off with Twister and Scary Face. Twister is only 40 base power, while the others were 55 and 60. But then after that, we'll get Ancient Power, Dragon Claw, Dragon Dance, which will boost my attack and speed by 1 stage. Which funnily enough, I cannot use with dragon moves because all dragon type moves in this generation are special. So I would have to use it with like Ancient Power or Return or something. And then we get Crunch at 35, we learn Fly at level 45, then Rest, Extreme Speed, Outrage, and Hyper Beam. And then we get a lot of good TMs too. The notable ones are Dragon Claw, Water Pulse, Bulk Up, Hidden Power, Ice Beam, Blizzard, Rain Dance, Sunny Day, Solar Beam, Iron Tail, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Earthquake, Return, Brick Break, Shockwave, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Aerial Ace, Secret Power, and Overheat. Man, I definitely said that quickly. But yeah, that's pretty much all the information for these 3. Now let's get into the actual run. Like usual, we're going to start with the first of the trio, Groudon, and then we'll move to Kyogre, and then Rayquaza for this section of the game. I defeat the rival quite easily, and then when I get over to this route, I usually like to face all the trainers, but the main problem with Groudon is that we only have a ground type move to attack, and I know one of these people has a flyer, so I save before this youngster just in case it's him. And yep, I was right, it was him, so I had to reset. It's a good thing though, I'm pretty sure no mandatory trainer before level 15 for Groudon can even get a flying type, so I think I just gotta avoid the optional trainers that do. I help Wally catch a Pokemon and go through the Petalburg Woods with ease. Then as soon as I leave the forest, I pick up these 2 cherry berries to help out for Watson. Although I am immune to Thunder Wave, so it is going to be kinda pointless, but I can still get paralyzed with static, so these will still come in handy. As soon as I arrive in Rustboro City, I heal at the center, and then in the mart, I buy 1 Repel and some Super Potions. The main reason I'm doing this is because I'm not going to Roxanne right away. I'm actually going back south to Route 104 and defeating the trainers I skipped that don't have a flyer, and then I go right to Route 115 and defeat everyone here I can. When I finish up the training, I come back to Rustboro City and get the HM for Cut since I'm prone to forgetting this, and then I defeat the trainers in Roxanne's gym and then take her on right away. She leads off with Geodude and I have Groudon at level 13. 1 Mud Shot is able to do the 1 shot surprisingly due to it being a physical move, and then a 2nd Mud Shot knocks out the 2nd Geodude. And now for the Nose Pass. I use 1 Mud Shot to deal 2/3 of its health, I lower its speed, it misses Rock Tomb, and Oranberry heals it, but that's not enough to save it, and I beat Roxanne with a split of 11 minutes and 25 seconds. Not a bad split at all, despite having to do all the training, but let's see how Kyogre does next. Kyogre is not going to need the extra training that Groudon did. I only do the trainers on the first couple of early routes because I pretty much fight them with almost everything I use, and then when I arrive in Rustboro City, the first thing I do is take on the gym trainers in Roxanne's gym, and then on Roxanne herself, her first 2 Geodude are 4 times weak to water, so they are an easy 1-shot, and then the Nose Pass itself is also a 1-shot thanks to the rain. Like almost nothing can knock out the Nose Pass in 1 hit, and then when I knock it out, I get a split of 7 minutes and 4 seconds. That is very, very good, although you gotta remember, Groudon had to do extra training for later. But let's see how Rayquaza does, since it is weak to rock. With Rayquaza, as I've stated before, I am weak to the rock typing, so I do pretty much every single trainer before Roxanne, from the first couple of early routes to the routes surrounding Rustboro City, as well as Roxanne's gym trainers. And then by the time I take on Roxanne for the first time, I level up Rayquaza to level 14, which is around the same level as Groudon. Twister is unfortunately not able to do the 1-shot on Geodude, and I get hit with Rock Tomb lowering my speed, but her Pokemon are so slow I'm still able to outspeed them. On the 2nd Geodude I get a flinch with Twister, and the 2nd one takes it out. Now for the Nose Pass. Twister does less than half, it goes for Harden. I use another Twister, somehow doing less. It misses Rock Tomb, activates Oranberry, hits me with Rock Tomb, lowers my speed, and then I knock out the Nose Pass, get to level 15, learn Ancient Power, and I take out Roxanne with a split of 12 minutes and 2 seconds. So comparing everyone's splits so far, Kyogre has a monstrous lead because he was able to skip a bunch of early game training that the others had to do, while Groudon and Rayquaza are honestly quite close to each other. I think Rayquaza is only a slightly bit behind due to Twister's lower power, and that some things were a 2-hit instead of a 1-hit. But it's still too early to tell, we still have a bunch of the game left to go through. So in the next segment of the game, we're going to be going over Brawly, if the Pokemon choose to do him or skip him, and then we're going to go all the way up to Watson, the next difficult gym leader. This is the split I like to call Chapter 2, Watson. As I'm rescuing Pico from the Team Aqua Grunt, you notice with Groudon I now have Rock Tomb on my moveset. This is so I finally have a move that can hit a flying type, because it's either teach the TM for Rock Tomb now, or wait till level 15 to get Ancient Power. I don't think it would really matter because I think I can get to level 15 before having to face a flyer, but I may as well just teach this now. Plus here's the thing, another main problem with Groudon, both of the attacking moves I have right now are not 100% accurate. Mudshot is 95, Rock Tomb is 80, so I'm definitely going to be missing a lot of moves. And then once I finish up the errands in Rustboro City, I go back to the mart to buy some super potions and I buy 11 repels to last me until Falabar Town. Falabar Town is when I buy super repels. And then as I'm leaving town, the rival asks if I want to battle him. This is an optional battle, this is this game's rival 1A, and I choose to fight him because I need all the XP I can get for Groudon, especially since you gotta remember, I am in a region with too much water. And then on this fight is when I actually learn Ancient Power. Ancient Power is 100% accurate, 60 power. So it actually is better than Rock Tomb in every way except PP, so I'm actually gonna have both. I then catch a Wingull and a Zigzagoon for HM users since I forgot to do that earlier. Just rest assured for every Pokemon I always catch a Zigzagoon, and my flyer is either a Wingull or a Tailo, and I don't get my Strength user until Granite Cave. I then take Mr. Briney's boat to Dewford Town, and while I'm here I go into this house right here to get the Silk Scarf. This will boost the power of normal type moves by 10%. It's not going to help now obviously, but when I get a move like Return or Slash, it'll definitely come in handy. I return the letter to Steven Stone at the end of Granite Cave, and now I can catch a Strength user. I can either get Makuhita, Aron, or Geodude. Who will my Strength user be? It looks like it'll be Makuhita. Slight spoiler for the Sapphire race from a few days ago. For all 3 of the contenders, all 3 of them caught a Makuhita. So hopefully in this video we get some more unique Strength users. I then get out of the cave and heal at the center, and I can choose whether to fight Brawly now or delay him till later, and I choose to fight him right now because I want the TM he gives, which is Bulk Up. But I think this will be pretty easy. Luckily Groudon's a ground type, not a rock type, so it's not weak to fighting. On his Machamp, I use Mudshot to do more than half. It goes for Bulk Up, but that's not enough to let it live. I also get a crit, so that's another reason. Then on his Meditite, I go for some Ancient Powers, hoping to get some Omni Boosts. Plus, his Pokemon only has Focus Punch, so if I miss with my other moves that aren't 100%, there's a chance it can land Focus Punch. So I pretty much just spam Ancient Power until I run out. Unfortunately, I get 0 boosts, and now I have to just rely on Mudshot. But I do knock it out eventually. It would have been nice though to get some boosts, but whatever. Then on his Makuhita, I use Mudshot to deal exactly half. It goes for Bulk Up, so it will survive a second hit, especially since it used a Citrus Berry, which is very overpowered in the early game because it heals a flat 30 HP. Plus, Brawly keeps delaying the fight by constantly using super potions. This is a pattern with the Hoenn gym leaders, they just love to use healing items. And then unfortunately at the last minute, I get Makuhita to low health. It uses Reversal, which is the fighting type version of Flail. It does more damage the less HP you are at, so it is actually able to destroy me, and I get my first reset since that youngster who had the flying type. On the second attempt, I'm back to spamming Ancient Power on the Meditite. I actually get an Omni Boost, and then when I knock it out with another critical hit Ancient Power, I'm able to move on to the Makuhita at near full health. I use Mudshot to deal less than half, it uses Bulk Up, the Reflect wore off, and the second Mudshot takes it out. I get to level 16, and then I can get the TM for Bulk Up. Man, can you see why I needed the training? It was pretty much for Brawly, because obviously Watson's going to be a piece of cake for Groudon because it's a ground type. And then when I take Mr. Briny's ship near Slateport City, I talk to this girl right here to get the soft sand and I equip it right away. This will boost the power of ground type moves by 10%, and conveniently enough, I have a ground type move called Mud Shot, so this will get a slight power boost. And I choose to do some extra training on this route, but I have to be careful because a bunch of the trainers here have flying types like Wingull, so I gotta make sure to save some rock tombs for them. Unfortunately, when I'm in the soda house, I'm fighting this one guy who has a Wingull. I've missed too many rock tombs, and I completely ran out of rock tomb and ancient power. So I'm gonna have to try my best to get struggle here. I'd have to use up all of my bulk ups and all my mud shots just to get struggle, which is honestly concerning because the Wingull does have water gun, but luckily due to the sunlight it's only doing like 5 damage. But unfortunately it's become too much and Groudon actually blacks out. And since I hadn't saved here, I have to try my best to get a blackout on this trainer, but having a Wingull knock out your other Pokemon definitely takes a lot of time. But in no time at all, I am able to get everything to black out, and I'm able to come back to this guy and fight him again, so yeah, that was definitely a massive time loss. And then I can arrive in Slateport City, return the parts to Captain Stern, and then while I'm here at the Pokemon Mart, unlike Pokemon Sapphire, there are a lot more trainers in the early routes of the game leading up to Watson. Some of them have static, so I gotta make sure to keep stocked up on Paralyze heals. And then before I leave the town, I heal at the center for some safety. I defeat the 2 trainers right here with the Plusle and Minun, clear out the Trick House to get the rare candy. Also, while doing this, I now have Slash on my moveset, which I taught over Rock Tomb. So now with the Silk Scarf equipped, this will be one of my more powerful moves. I'm sure with Stab, Mud Shot is better, but Slash is 100% accurate, so immediately Slash is better than Mud Shot. And then I defeat every single trainer possible before Rival 2, and then I can take on Rival 2. He leads off with a Wingull, and then the first thing I do is use a Slash to knock it out in one hit. Next up is the Lombre. I just keep going for Slash, and I get the one hit. And now for Combusken. I go for Slash, and it actually survives, it just wastes its time with Focus Energy, and then a second Slash knocks it out, so I completely destroy the rival. I knock out the rest of the trainers up to Mauville City, and then as soon as I enter Mauville, the first thing I do is go into this house and get the HM for Rock Smash. I then get a bicycle, heal at the center, completely destroy Wally's team, and at this point, if a Pokemon struggles with Watson, there are so many trainers you could grind on, but Groudon is obviously not one of those Pokemon. So I go into Watson's gym right away, take out his gym trainers, and then take on the gym leader himself. He's been given a massive power boost from Ruby and Sapphire because they gave him a Manectric as well. Plus I think his Pokemon have a slight level boost, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they do. He leads off with Voltorb, and the first thing I do is go for a super effective Mud Shot, and it takes it out in one hit. Then on the Electrike, I also go for Mud Shot. It outspeeds with Quick Attack because it's a priority move, but it really did no damage. Now on the Magneton, it's 4 times weak to ground, so a Mud Shot just completely destroys it. Now for the Manectric. I do a Mud Shot, and what do you know, it actually goes down in one hit. And Groudon gets the Dynamo badge with a split of 35 minutes and 4 seconds. You know, due to that death on Brawly and that one blackout on the Sailor, this is definitely not a good time as it could have gotten, but let's see how the other 2 do. Let's start with our last place contender, Rayquaza. I know this part's not important, but I've got to see what our strength user is going to be in the cave. But while I'm looking for a strength user, I actually find an Abra, and I throw a Pokeball at it, because an Abra can help you save a bit of time if you're able to catch it, but unfortunately not, and it teleports away. And unfortunately I'm out of Pokeballs, so I'm going to have to catch a strength user later, and then when I get out of the cave, I take on Brawly right away. Unfortunately, Twister is not a flying type move, so Twister's only dealing neutral damage, but I resist all of his fighting type moves, so I take out Brawly completely easily. Even though Rayquaza can learn Bulk Up, I'm actually not going to be using Bulk Up because at a higher level I'll be getting the move Dragon Dance, which will boost my attack and my speed. So you could argue that Bulk Up would be better because it would boost your defense instead of your speed, since I already will be outspeeding almost everything anyway, but I only have a special and a physical move, I really don't need Bulk Up. Rayquaza is actually going to have a hard time with Watson due to its flying typing. Dragon does resist electric, so Rayquaza is going to be neutral to Watson's entire team. Plus his Magneton resists Twister because of its steel typing, so I'm definitely going to need all the training I can get. I do all the same stuff in the early routes as I do with Groudon, such as clearing the trick house and getting the rare candy, as well as defeating every trainer I can. And during my level up process, I now have Dragon Claw on my moveset. This is a much needed upgrade over Twister, so this is going to be really nice to have. I completely destroy Rival 2 and head my way into Mauville. I'm sure you could have seen this coming, but I actually have to take out every single trainer in the surrounding routes by Mauville. There's a lot more trainers in this area than there were in Sapphire, so I've got a lot of training I can do. And then once all the training is done, as well as Watson's gym trainers, I battle Watson at level 29. Unfortunately, I'm not level 30 for damage rounding, but we'll just make do with what we got. Besides, we're like 10 XP or so from level up, so after I defeat the Voltorb, I hit level 30, and I get the opportunity to learn Dragon Dance, which I immediately teach over Scary Face. Now on the Electrike, I go for an Ancient Power hoping for an Omni Boost, sadly no. Now on the Magneton, Dragon Claw does way more than half. I get hit with Thunder Wave, the Cherry Berry heals it away, and then the Magneton goes down. Now for the Manectric, I use Dragon Claw and it immediately gets the one-shot. Static activates, but it doesn't matter because the battle's over, and I get a Watson split of 38 minutes and 51 seconds. Now let's just see if Kyogre can retain its massive lead. Something I definitely want to bring up, when I'm trying to catch my HM users for Kyogre, it was taking absolutely forever to get my Flying and my Zigzagoon user, because I don't end up setting sail on Mr. Briny's boat until around 14.5 minutes into the run. So yeah, it definitely took a while. Because here's the thing, on this route surrounding the cottage, there's a 10% chance of Tailo, 10% of Wingull. So it's a 20% chance to find a flyer of any kind, and it just took a while. I give Steven Stone the letter, and let's see what Kyogre's strength user is. And it looks like it's another Makuhita. So now we're at 5 Makuhitas for our Hoenn playthroughs. Hopefully when Rayquaza gets its strength user, hopefully it's not a Makuhita. I completely destroy Brawly's team with a series of one-shots because let me tell you, a Rain Dance with the same type attack bonus Water Pulse is so insanely powerful, you would not believe it. Cause trust me, this isn't my first time playing Kyogre. I've also done a White version 2 playthrough with Kyogre, and even in that game, it was insanely powerful. Kyogre though will definitely have the hardest time with Watson because Kyogre is actually weak to Electric, so I do want to do all the training possible to get the biggest advantage possible. I do pretty much the exact same training as Rayquaza did. You can obviously tell because I enter the Watson fight at level 29, and then Drizzle makes it rain, and then Water Pulse one-shots the Voltorb, the Electrike, the Magneton, and the Manectric, and then Kyogre defeats Watson with a split time of 33 minutes and 52 seconds. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure if all that training for Kyogre was necessary, but let me tell you, if I wasn't able to one-shot the Magneton or the Manectric with a Water Pulse because I was too low of a level, it could have hit me with a very powerful Shockwave, but my special defense is really good, so honestly, I'm not sure the training was necessary, but the training could definitely be used for later parts of the run, like when I have to face the Water-type Gym Leader or the Elite Four. But right now, Kyogre still is in the lead, but it's not by a massive as a lead as the other two. It's only ahead of Groudon by around 2 minutes, and Groudon's ahead of Rayquaza by around 3 minutes. So things can definitely go either way. So now in the next section of the game, we're going to go over every gym leader up to Winona. This is the chapter I like to call Chapter 3, the mid-game. With Groudon, I do utilize one of the few move tutors we have access to during the main game. I actually teach Groudon the move Rollout in Mauville City. There's this move tutor right here. This move will progressively do more damage the more times it hits the opponent. And I can tell you that Rollout will definitely help for people like Flannery, so I don't have to spam Mudshot. I can just use one single Rollout and let the damage stack up. I do the training through Route 111, and then when I make it to the other side of the fiery path, I talk to this guy right here to get the TM for Secret Power. Even though Slash and Secret Power have the same base power, I actually do teach Secret Power because I would rather have the chance to paralyze or flinch depending on where I am than the increased crit chance. Then as soon as I arrive in Falabar Town, I heal at the center, go to the mart and buy a bunch of Super Repels, And then I go west to Route 114, go into this house right here to get the TM for Dig, which I teach right away over Mudshot because even though Dig is only 5 base power more over 2 turns, so effectively it's 30 base power per turn, like I said before, Dig is 100% accurate, Mudshot's 95, so that makes Dig better. And then while I'm going through this route, I smash this boulder right here to get a protein. This protein will definitely help out Groudon, and I want to use early vitamins because I don't have many EVs, so it's not really going to interfere with my vitamin buying process. I enter Meteor Falls, see the conversations between Team Aqua and Team Magma, and then I exit Meteor Falls to the south exit, and I go through Rustboro City, but just outside of it, this item is not here in Sapphire. I can actually get a PP up. And then I can go through Rustboro, head to Rustboro Tunnel, smash this rock right here to get the HM for strength, and then I can go back up through Route 111 and get on the gondola. There is a 1 in 64 chance of seeing a hiker while doing this. Can I get a hiker today? Nope, but we still have 2 more Pokemon, so we'll see. And then at the very top, I take on Team Magma's Maxie. He starts off with Mightyena, and right away it hits me with an Intimidate. So on turn 1, I actually go for Rollout, not doing that much, but remember, Rollout will progressively build strength. But unfortunately I get hit with a Sand Attack, and fortunately the 3rd Rollout still hits. Then Rollout hits the Zubat, okay. Can I hit the camera up with a turn 5 Rollout? I do, and it completely knocks out in 1 hit. So yeah, that was really lucky of a fight. And then before leaving, I get this Meteorite right here because I will eventually exchange this for the TM for return, because with Groudon's high physical attack, we'll definitely be utilizing it. And then I go through the Jagged Pass, end up in Lava Ridge City, and take on the Fire-type gym leader Flannery. She leads off with Nummel, which is only neutral to rock moves due to its ground typing. I miss my first rollout, and the Nummel's able to do some damage, but luckily I'm able to hit rollout again and knock it out. Now for the Slugma. Unfortunately I missed my rollout, I get hit with Overheat, which is not good, so I have to start my rollout chain back up again. I knock out the Slugma in 1 hit, rollout does half to the Camerupt, it misses Overheat, and then 2 more rollouts knock it out, and then the 4th rollout knocks out the Torkoal. So yeah, Groudon's free Sunlight was definitely giving me a disadvantage because the Sunlight benefits everyone on the field, so her Fire-type moves were dealing 50% more damage. So that was definitely a disadvantage. I then get the Go Goggles from Brendan, and then the first thing I do with them is go over to the Sandstorm part of Route 111 and get the free rare candy. And then on my way down to Mr. Briney's ship, I have to pass through Slayport City, so I come to the little market right here and buy Hidden Power. I will use Hidden Power with all 3 Pokemon, so be sure to guess in the comments which Hidden Power type is which. So for Groudon, today's Vitamin of the Day is Carbos. The main reason I bought Carbos is because my attack stats already very good, and I just want a bit extra speed because I think it might help out with some later fights. I then talk to Mr. Briney to set sail to Petalburg City, where I can take on Norman. He leads off with Spinda. The first thing I do is go for a Bulk Up, and then Norman Spinda hits me with Teeter Dance. And then I hit myself in confusion. It just spams Teeter Dance because Norman's AI is a bit broken here. Because I'm pretty sure in the game Teeter Dance counts as a field move, because I think Teeter Dance hits both Pokemon on the field, so it can continually spam Teeter Dance. And then I just keep hitting myself, it keeps going for Teeter Dance, I keep hitting myself, hits me with Psybeam, and then I snap out of confusion and I miss a rollout, and then I get hit with Teeter Dance again, I hit myself, now I'm at 11 hit points left, and when I finally snap out of confusion, I'm at 11 HP left. Will the rollout chain be able to knock everything out? Nope, the Vigoroth survives and I get a reset. Man, that is an OP Spinda. On the second attempt, I get a lot luckier with my confusion, and I'm able to get to the Vigoroth, snap out of confusion, and knock it out with a +3 rollout. And then on Linoon, I hit it with a +4. Okay, can I hit the Slacking for a +5? I do, and it completely dies in 1 hit, and I have beaten Norman. There's one more gym leader to this split, which is Winona, but before I talk to her, at this point I now have access to Surf, so I can get some rare candies. The first rare candy I get is in Petalburg City. I just go down this little pond, and then after I escape, go past Oldale Town and get back to Route 110, I go south to Slateport City onto Route 108, which is this ocean route, and then I can go to this little island to get another rare candy. And then back to Route 110, on this small little island there's another rare candy. and I head east towards Route 123 and go north to Route 119. I skip pretty much almost every trainer here and make it straight to the Weather Institute, where the first thing I do is clear the place out of Team Aqua. I get a useless cast form which I deposit in the PC. The main reason I have to deposit cast form is because in my rules for double battles, my second Pokemon can only do one of two things: raise its own stats or hit my main Pokemon. Cast form can't do either of those because it has weather moves which affects the field, and it has powder snow which hits both opponents in the field, so I have to get rid of it, just in case my other HM users die, so that way cast form doesn't just do anything. And then on Rival 3, his team in general is very easy, although the Pelipper is a troll with Protect, so I can't really knock it out with Rollout. But when I eventually knock it out, I can make it to Fort Tree City, go past it into Route 120, and then right here I can get the rare candy, help Steven Stone chase off the Kecleon, and then I can get the Devon Scope to make this Kecleon move away from the gym, and I defeat Winona's gym trainers and battle Winona herself. The thing is, with Rollout, this fight should be very easy. Hopefully her Pokemon are nice to me. Winona leads off with a Swablu, I go for one Bulk Up, and now I begin Rollout. It's a good thing the Swablu didn't use Perish Song. Now for the Tropius. My turn 2 Rollout knocks it out in one hit, okay, good. And then on the Pelipper, it luckily does not go for Protect like it always does. And then on Skarmory, I'm able to hit it with a turn 4 Rollout. Man, Rollout is such a good move. And now for the Altaria. It's no longer protected by Safeguard, which didn't really matter. And then one Rollout takes it out, and I defeat Winona with a split of 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 32 seconds. Honestly, Groudon didn't really struggle through this area besides Norman. So let's see how the other two do in this section. This time, let's head back to Kyogre because I want to see what kind of first place lead we can get and see if Rayquaza can beat it. Because with Watson done, that should be the end of Rayquaza's struggles until the Elite Four. I take out all the mandatory trainers until Falabar Town and up to Meteor Falls. And funnily enough, I actually skip Secret Power because as you can see on my moveset, I now have Body Slam and Calm Mind. Body Slam is 15 base power stronger than Secret Power, plus Body Slam already has a built-in chance to paralyze. Plus my attack isn't as good as my special attack, so I'm going to stick with Body Slam. And then as I chase off Team Magma and Team Aqua, in the Meteor Falls, I head south to Rustboro City, get the HM for Cuts because I forgot to get it earlier since I couldn't do the Trick House. Well, I told you, I have a problem with forgetting Cut. Now I'm heading up the gondola towards Maxie on top of Mount Chimney. Will I get the 1 in 64 hiker? Nope, not for Kyogre. On Maxie, I use one Calm Mind, so one Calm Mind in addition to Rain with the same type attack bonus Water Pulse, it just completely wrecks his whole team. I don't need Return because Body Slam will do, and then I head back down to Lava Ridge Town, take out Flannery with absolute ease because I'm a water type, and now I am back at Norman. As you can see on Norman, I now have Ice Beam on my moveset, which I learned at level 35. I knock out his Spinda with Water Pulse, his Vigoroth with Water Pulse. I didn't even use a Calm Mind either. That's just how powerful Water Pulse is. I knock out his Linoon. Let's see if I can knock out his Slacking. The Slacking lives, it just goes for Yawn, but I am able to knock it out just in time, so that sleep is not even necessary. And then with Surf obtained, I teach it to Kyogre over Water Pulse, so if you thought Water Pulse boosted by Rain was good, wait until you see Surf boosted by Rain. Oh man. I get the Trick House rare candy that I forgot earlier because I didn't have Cut, and I get the other rare candies. And then I go through Route 119 and end up in the Weather Institute, chase out Team Aqua, and then when I get the cast form, it is actually holding a Mystic Water, which is used to boost water type moves by 10%. So I actually do take it, give it to Kyogre, and then deposit the cast form. I also heal in the bed nearby too. And then I completely destroy Rival 3, help out Steven Stone with the Kecleon, and now I can take on Winona. Here's the thing though, with Winona, I have Ice Beam now, so I'm able to completely destroy her team thanks to Ice Beam and Surf, and I can take out Winona for a time of 59 minutes and 50 seconds. That is a sub-hour Winona split. That is very impressive, plus I'm at 0 resets while Groudon had 3. This is a lot of ground for Rayquaza to make up, but can he do it? Let's take a look. Alright, with Rayquaza, I do the same stuff as everybody else did, up to the gondola. So let's see, does Rayquaza get the 1 in 64 hiker? Nope, so I guess we're not going to get that in this video. Sad. Let's see how Rayquaza does against Maxie though. On his Mightyena, Dragon Claw knocks it out in one hit. Then on the Zubat, I obviously don't need to worry about that. And now for the Camerupt. One Dragon Claw takes it out in one single shot. So as you can see, my moveset's still pretty much the same from when I took out Watson. I chose not to learn Secret Power right now because I just really did not need it. But before I leave, I actually do get the Meteorite because I will be using Return. Next up, I gotta deal with Flannery. I take out her first 2 Pokemon with Dragon Claw. The Camerupt actually survives and gets off a Sunny Day, but due to my ability Airlock, it actually disables all weather effects in battle, so the 50% fire boost won't even be applied. The Torkoal goes for Body Slam, luckily it doesn't paralyze, and I can move on to Norman. But before I do that, I have the ability to learn Crunch, so I learned that over Twister. And then with Rayquaza, when I'm back in Slateport City, my vitamin of the day is Calcium, because I'm mostly going to be relying on special attacking moves, and at this point, I now teach Hidden Power over Ancient Power. You know, it's actually kind of funny, I have Dragon Dance and all special moves. Okay, I guess that does kind of give away what my Hidden Power is, I'll just say it. Rayquaza's Hidden Power is Hidden Power Ice. The main reason is because I want Ice Beam for later, but Ice Beam is a bit out of the way because it's in the abandoned ship. So I just get Hidden Power Ice just to save time. Anyway, on Norman, I take out his Spinda with 1 Dragon Claw. This thing gave Groudon a lot of problems. And then I take out his Vigoroth, his Linoon, and now I'm at level 36 for the Slacking. I use Dragon Claw to do half, it just wastes its 1 turn with Yawn. Unfortunately, the second Dragon Claw doesn't knock it out and I get put to sleep. Unfortunately, I am out of Dragon Claws, so I gotta use other moves. So while I'm still asleep, I eventually wake up and go for Hidden Power Ice, and it looks like it's gonna be a 3-shot, and at this point, Counter hits me back and does double damage. Here's a fun fact in Generations 2 and 3, even though your Hidden Power type can determine whether the move is special or physical, the move itself in the game is still recognized as a normal type move, so Counter can deal back double damage with Hidden Power, even if your Hidden Power typing is special. This was changed in Generation 4 when Hidden Power became a special move no matter what type it is. So yeah, I actually learned this for the first time during my Pokemon Emerald livestream with Starmie. I was using Hidden Power on the Slacking and I got killed with Counter and I was so surprised. So with Rayquaza, I'm actually going to be doing something a bit differently that the other two didn't do. I'm actually going to talk to Watson in Mauville City. You can only talk to him here after you have defeated Norman. He wants you to go to New Mauville, which is just an underground abandoned project. This is basically Hoenn's version of the power plant from Kanto. There's a bunch of electric types here. He gives you the key to it, and he wants you to shut off the main generator. And once you do that, I can escape rope out of here, and then Watson will give me the TM for Thunderbolt. This move I really want for Winona and a bunch of the water type users coming up. So now I have a dilemma with what move to teach. I end up in the end teaching Thunderbolt over Dragon Dance. So yeah, I never used this move once. But hey, now we have an all special attacking moveset. Let's see how far this can get us. I clear out the Weather Institute, defeat Rival 3 very easily, and I make it to Winona. For Winona, I am level 39 for this place. Hidden Power Ice knocks out the Swablu and the Altaria in one hit. Then on the Tropius, it is also 4 times weak to Ice, so it knocks it out in one hit. Then for Pelipper, I misclick and go for Hidden Power, but it doesn't matter because it used Protect. And I use 1 Thunderbolt to deal 4 times effective damage. Now for the Skarmory, I just go for Thunderbolt because Steel does not resist Electric, and I defeat Winona with a split time of 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 28 seconds. Now comparing everyone's splits, there's actually been a slight shift now in the place positioning. Kyogre is still in first place by around 5 minutes compared to second place, but now Rayquaza has surpassed Groudon and is in second place. Rayquaza is ahead of Groudon by around 2 minutes. I think this is honestly due to the reset Groudon had on Norman, because that was a pretty lengthy reset. So this race is definitely getting heated at this point, but in my opinion, at this point, I don't think there's anything Groudon or Rayquaza can do that can overpass Kyogre, but funnier things have happened on the channel. So in this chapter, we're going to be going over the rest of the Hoenn gym leaders and defeat Wally in Victory Road and enter the Pokemon League. This is the chapter I like to call Chapter 4, The Late Game. With Groudon, after I defeat Winona, Winona's badge gives me the ability to use Fly outside of battle, so I fly back to Falabar Town, return the Meteorite, and get the TM for return. This will be very helpful to Groudon. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, I now have Earthquake on my moveset, which I learned at level 35, so at least I won't have to get the TM for it in the underground cavern. And then I go through the rest of Route 120, avoiding most of the optional trainers, and then past this little puddle of water right here, I get the second rare candy. And then I go to this berry patch right here to get some Persim and Chesto berries. These berries always come in handy in an emergency. The Persim berry can mostly come helpful on Sydney or Phoebe, and the Chesto berry can come in helpful during Wand. Or if you want to use the Resto Chesto strat, so it's always real nice to get these as a backup since they're literally right here. And then on this route right here, a lot of the trainers have close to fully evolved Pokemon, so the training here will actually be really nice. Plus you gotta remember, all 3 of our legendaries are in the slow level up group, so it takes a long time to get levels. And then I enter Lily Cove City, but only for a little bit to set it as a fly point, and then I get the rare candy on Route 123, which is south of Mount Pyre, and then I enter Mount Pyre, climb to the top, chase off Team Aqua, and then get a free rare candy for my troubles. And while in Pokemon Sapphire, all I had to do was just fly to Slateport, watch him steal the submarine, then go to the hideout. This is Pokemon Emerald. I have to do the Team Magma hideout first, which is in the Jagged Pass. I teach Strength to my Makuhita, and then I go through the hideout. This place is generally pretty uneventful, but this place has a couple of really good items that I always get. There is a rare candy in here which is pretty out of the way because you have to defeat a couple of optional grunts, but due to the slow level up group, it'll be 100% worth it to get. And then in this little area, I go in this small little room. All it has is just a single magma grunt, but I'm not here for him. I'm here to get the PP Max. This thing is basically 3 PP ups in one. It'll max out the power points of one of your moves. Usually I like to use this on return, but we'll see what I use this on. And then at the very end of the Magma hideout, I see Maxie wake up the Groudon, and then it goes away because he used the wrong orb, so he takes out his anger on me. On his Mightyena, it is actually able to live an Earthquake due to Intimidate lowering my attack. It's able to heal up, but luckily a second Earthquake takes it out. Now for the Crobat, I use Hidden Power Ice on it, and it only does a third, I'd say, and then I try and go for return, but it does roughly the same amount of damage. But luckily, Maxie's only healing item is just a bunch of super potions, and the Crobat generally has bad attacking moves, so I'm able to easily take it out. And then on the Camerupt, I can use 1 Earthquake for the 1 hit. Then, after I chase off Team Magma and they all leave, I can go in this little exit right here to get a free escape rope, and I use that to get out of here. So now at this point, I can fly to Slateport City, watch Team Aqua steal the submarine, and then I can go to Lily Cove City and enter their hideout. Before I go in their hideout though, there is a free PP up in this rock right here, so in addition to a PP up from outside Rustboro City, which is only an emerald, plus the PP Max, which is only an emerald, and this 1 PP up right here, I have a lot of power points to go around. Plus, while I'm in the Team Aqua hideout, if I step on this teleporter right here, I actually will get a Max Elixir. This will come very much in handy for the Elite Four. I then get the Master Ball in here to help me catch a Tentacool for later, clear out the rest of the Aqua hideout very easily, and right now all I can do is just surf over to Moss Deep City, where I heal at the center and then go enter the gym. The gym puzzle for Tate and Liza's gym is very different in Pokemon Emerald compared to Ruby and Sapphire, because instead of a bunch of arrow tiles like you would see in the Rocket hideout in Kanto, there's a bunch of teleporters kind of like Sabrina's gym. So after I knock out all of these trainers, I am level 44 for Tate and Liza. I now have Hidden Power on my moveset, which will come very in handy for Tate and Liza. If you have a physical attacker that doesn't have a good answer for Tate and Liza, the best Hidden Power to use is Hidden Power Ghost. So while Tate and Liza is going after my HM users, I'm able to get a free setup with Bulk Up, which will definitely boost the effect of Hidden Power because Hidden Power Ghost is a physical move. And then 1 Hidden Power Ghost knocks out the Clay Doll, and then next up is the Lunatone. The Xatu is still here knocking out my HM users. It knocks out my Tentacool, and now all I have is a Zigzagoon. I go for Hidden Power on the Xatu next because I determine it to be more scary. Luckily it's able to get the one shot, And then next up is the Soul Rock. The Lunatone knocks out my HM user, so now I'm on my own. I use Hidden Power on the Soul Rock for the one hit, and then Lunatone wastes its time with Calm Mind. I mean, that's not really going to help you, buddy. I knock it out with Hidden Power Ghost, and I defeat Tate and Liza on the first try. You know, if you can defeat Tate and Liza on the first try, that can potentially be a huge time save for you, so that's a good sign. So at this point, since it's Pokemon Emerald, Team Magma invaded the space station in Moss Deep City, so I have to chase out Team Magma, and then help Steve and Stone in a multi-battle against Maxie and Tabitha. This fight is generally just pretty random, but I still like to talk about it because either Steve and Stone can help you out by spamming Psychic, or he'll just be a huge waste of time. I go for Earthquake right away, which hits the Metang, but it also hits the Camerupt and Mightyena as well. I'm not too worried about knocking out the Metang, because he also has an Aggron and a Skarmory right afterwards, and if he sends out the Skarmory, it's immune to Earthquake anyway. I get hit with a Swagger from one of the Mightyena, which is actually great because both the Mightyena used Intimidate on me, so that pretty much cancelled out all of my Intimidates. So I used Bulk Up to get to +1 again, and then Aggron missed Thunder. I do not know why Steven's Aggron has special moves, that's just very odd to me. But it is able to knock out one of them with Dragon Claw, so I'll take it. And then I use Earthquake. Steven plays smart and he goes for Protect while I use Earthquake. I come close to knocking out the Mightyena, but sadly don't. And then I use another Earthquake. I knock out the Camerupt, the Aggron, and the Mightyena. There are 2 more Pokemon left, a Crobat and a Golbat. Earthquake is obviously no longer helpful, so I just used Return on the Golbat while Skarmory wastes time using Protect. Unfortunately, they gang up on me and Groudon gets a reset. See why I told you this fight is random? Because here's the thing, on the very next attempt, I'm down to the very last Pokemon and Groudon wins and lots of green health to spare. So yeah, this fight is very random. And then afterwards, Steve and Stone gives me the HM for Dive, which I can teach to Tentacool, and head on down to the Seafloor Cavern. The only good thing that's down here is Earthquake, but I already have it by level up, so there's no need to pick it up. And then Kyogre is at the very end, but I have to take on Archie first. His Mightyena uses Intimidate on me like all the other ones do, and then I go for Earthquake, which lives, and then it hits me with Scary Face, so now his Pokemon are probably going to outspeed me, especially his Crobat. And now when I take out his Mightyena on his Crobat, it goes for Air Cutter. I go for Return doing less than half, and then Archie is going to heal, so I use a Bulk Up to raise my attack. The Sunlight's still going, and then I use Return to deal way over half, and then when it hits me with its second wing attack, I am left at around 33 HP to spare. And now for the Sharpedo, I used Earthquake because I do not want to activate its Rough Skin ability, because I have had problems with that in the past. And then I can take out Archie. At this point though is when there's a bunch of story stuff. You have to like get Rayquaza to come down, stop Kyogre and Groudon from fighting, all that stuff. So why don't we skip all that and just go straight to the final gym leader, Hoenn. I don't need to take on any of his gym trainers, so I just go for Hoenn right away. He starts off with a Love Disc, and then the first thing I do is go for a Bulk Up, although that's not a good idea because this thing could confuse me with Water Pulse or Sweet Kiss, which luckily it doesn't on the first turn, and luckily not on the second turn. Okay, I should probably stop risking my luck right now, but it doesn't matter. I have a Person Berry, so I was actually prepared for this. And then I knock out the Wishcash, Celio, Crawdaunt, I level up to level 48, and finally is the Kingdra. One return knocks it out thanks to the bulk ups, and I've gotten all 8 gym badges. But this is not where we split things yet. We split things when I go into Victory Road and take out Wally and enter the Pokemon League. So let's see how Wally goes. In Pokemon Emerald, unlike Sapphire, you have to fight Wally at the very beginning of Victory Road, so we can quickly see how this goes. He leads off with Altaria. The first thing I do was go for Bulk Up, and then the Altaria responds by setting up with its own Dragon Dance, and then it just goes for Safeguard while I knock it out with Return. Oh shoot, 1 HP. That was probably a range or something, because on the second return I'm able to knock it out in 1 hit, but that was probably thanks to a critical hit. I knock out his Roselia, his Delcatty, and then for his Magneton I have the 4 times effective Earthquake, so that just completely annihilates it. And now, finally, the Gardevoir. I go for Return. I honestly should have gone for Earthquake because Earthquake with Stab does more damage than Return. But, oh well, Return is basically the go-to move that you don't really have to think about. You just use it. I mean, the only thing that Return is not good for using against is like Rock, Steel, and Ghost types. And there's really not too many of those here. And then I take out the rest of the mandatory trainers in Victory Road, and then I enter the Pokemon League building with a split time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 55 seconds. Now, let's go to Kyogre and see what first place looks like. Since at this point in the game, both Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza are all doing pretty much 99% the same stuff, getting the same rare candies, defeating the same mandatory trainers, I'm only going to talk about the gym leaders. But before I talk about any of the gym leaders, Kyogre does do something different from Groudon. I actually take out the optional Rival 4 battle in Lily Cove City because the rival is blocking the department store. The reason I want access to the department store is so I can purchase the TM for Thunder. The thing is, I could have gotten Thunderbolt, but since I always have the rain up and Thunder never misses in the rain, it just makes sense to go for Thunder, you know? And I teach that move over Body Slam. So now I have an all-special moveset with Calm Mind too. So yeah, this thing's gonna get real nasty real fast. And while I'm here, the department store also sells vitamins. I just buy a couple of calciums because I already have over 100 EVs in my speed, so I can't buy any carbos, so I just use some calciums while I'm here. I take care of the Team Magma and the Team Aqua hideout with 0 issues at all, and I eventually make it all the way to Tate and Liza. For this battle, I have Kyogre at level 45. The one thing I do is go for Surf, and even though Surf's base power is split between the two opponents because they nerfed Surf for double battles, I can actually combine that with the Rain up. Even though I don't knock out the Xatu, I knock out the Claydol thanks to it being weak to water moves. And then on the second Surf, I can knock out the Soul Rock, and then the Xatu lives again because Tate and Liza used a Hyper Potion. And now it's just down to Xatu and Lunatone. I use Surf while I have my Zigzagoon just spam Tackle on Kyogre because that's the only thing I can have it do. I knock out the Lunatone, and I actually get a critical hit on the Xatu, so I'm able to one-try Tate and Liza as well. So that time save that Groudon had pretty much doesn't matter because Kyogre also got it. The Maxie and Tabitha battle in the Space Center goes very easy. Groudon had issues here, Kyogre did not. And then I can get Dive, go to the Seafloor Cavern. I skip getting Earthquake because this moveset right here will be my final moveset for the rest of the game. And then I take out Archie, get Rayquaza to stop Groudon Kyogre from fighting, and then I can defeat Hoenn. Here's the funny thing though, I have Rain Dance and Thunder. I'm gonna one-shot all of his Pokemon. Except for the Whiscash though because it's immune to Electric, so I have to take it out with Surf. Although Hoenn does have a Kingdra as well, it's a Water Dragon type. Water Dragon is only weak to Dragon in this generation because the Fairy type doesn't exist yet. But I go for Thunder, and unfortunately I'm out of power points, so while the Kingdra's setting up Double Team, I use Ice Beam. Luckily it does more than half, but then the Kingdra goes for Resto Chesto and goes to sleep and immediately wakes up. I just keep spamming Ice Beam. Luckily it goes through the Double Teams, and I'm actually able to take out Hoenn. The final battle between me and the Pokemon League right now is the final battle with Wally. I mean, do I really need to talk about this? Wally is just pure trash in this game. Like, he's generally never hard for anybody. Although I have had problems with Wally in the past, mostly to his Gardevoir. And then after I handle the Victory Road Gauntlet, I enter the Pokemon League building with a split time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 54 seconds. Now, let's check out Rayquaza. When I get to the Magma hideout with Rayquaza, I just realized I don't have a strength user. I forgot to go back to Granite Cave and get one. So let's now see if Rayquaza can get a different strength user than Makuhita. Nope, it's a Makuhita. Well, we are 6 Makuhitas, 0 of anything else. Great. You know, what's the point of there being 3 strength users in that cave if I'm always catching the same one? Like, come on, give me a run with Geodude or Aeron for once. Skipping the rest of the Team Magma, Team Aqua stuff because Rayquaza had 0 problems, let's see how Rayquaza does with Tate and Liza because he does not have a move that can hit both opponents on the field at once like Kyogre did. Fortunately though, I do have one very good move, which is Crunch. And since Crunch only hits one Pokemon, it'll deal the full 80 power, but when I use it on the Claydol, it unfortunately survives. And then when I send out my Tailo, the Claydol just goes for Earthquake, which everything on the field is immune to. And then I go for Crunch on the Xatu instead, so it doesn't set up any Calm Minds. And then after the Xatu sends out Lunatone. I go for Crunch on the Lunatone, it lives, but luckily it lowers its special defense, and then the Lunatone knocks out the Tailo. And then on the Makuhita, the other Pokemon goes for Psychic, and then now I'm on my own. I go for Dragon Claw on the Lunatone just because it'll finish it off either way. And now is just Soul Rock and Clay Doll. I go for Crunch, it lives, it lowers its special defense, I get hit with Psychic, Sunny Day comes up, which isn't really going to matter. Tate and Liza use a Hyper Potion on Clay Doll. I go for Dragon Claw, and Dragon Claw actually gets the one-shot surprisingly. And then on Soul Rock, I go for a Crunch, and I actually get a one-try Tate and Liza as well. So yeah, all 3 of our contenders had a first try Tate and Liza. That's pretty darn good. That's an accomplishment all on its own in my opinion. So then skipping the rest of all the BS stuff between Tate and Liza and Hoenn, let's just go straight to Hoenn. Rayquaza's gonna have a medium difficulty with this fight. It doesn't have Thunder like Kyogre did, but it has Thunderbolts for his water types, and for his Kingdra, I actually have Dragon Claw, which is the one thing it's weak to. So I'm actually, now that I think about it, Rayquaza probably had an easier time here than Kyogre, but that doesn't mean the end of our struggles is here yet, because don't forget, there is an Ice-type Elite Four member, and I'm 4 times weak to Ice, so hopefully I have a good plan for it. With Rayquaza, before I go to the Pokemon League, I actually go around and get a couple of rare candies that I didn't get before. It includes the Route 114 rare candy that's past a waterfall, the Route 119 rare candy you need the Acrobike to get to, and I get this rare candy that's on a small little island. I pretty much get these rare candies with almost every Pokemon I do. I think this is just the first time I mentioned him. And then skipping over Wally because he's just pathetic, I finish off the Victory Road Gauntlet and enter the Pokemon League building with a split time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 33 seconds. Okay, so Kyogre is still in the lead by around 6 minutes. Man, in the Pokemon League, you are not going to be able to make up 6 minutes. I think we can all pretty much determine the winner of this race. Second place though, Rayquaza, is at 1 hour and 40 minutes while Groudon's at 1:43. So honestly, Groudon still has a chance for second place because Groudon is not going to struggle with Glacia while Rayquaza will. But that's something we'll figure out when it comes to the final 5 trainers. So let's get on to the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. Starting with the first Elite Four member, the Dark-type Specialist Sydney. With Groudon, I use a bunch of my rare candies to get to level 62. The Mightyena has Intimidate, but luckily Earthquake gets a critical hit, ignoring the attack drop. Now for the Crawdaunt. I go for Bulk Up, getting rid of the Intimidate. The Crawdaunt goes for Swords Dance. And then with my attack back to normal, I go for 1 Earthquake, knocking it out in a single hit. Now for Cacturn. I go for Return because the Grass type resists Earthquake, so Return was the better play. Same thing with the Shiftry, although the Shiftry outspeeds me and uses Double Team. The main reason it outspeeds me is because of its ability Chlorophyll, which doubles its speed in the sunlight. So because of Groudon, the Shiftry is actually outspeeding me, but eventually I am able to hit it through its Double Teams and knock it out. You know, Kyogre is the only one of the 2 where the weather has proved to be an advantage for the opponent, not for me. The first time was with Flannery's gym, because Flannery was able to get a 50% power boost to Overheat. With Kyogre, I enter the Sydney battle at level 51. I don't even use my rare candies yet, because I have Surf for his non-grass types, and Ice Beam for his grass types. So yeah, I'm just so powerful at this point that I pretty much one-shot almost everything on his team. Plus for his Crawdaunt, which resists Surf and Ice Beam, I have a Thunder that never misses. So yeah, Kyogre is a freaking beast. For Rayquaza, I use all of my rare candies to get to level 65 because the hardest trainer in the league isn't going to be Wallace, it's going to be Glacia. So I need to use all my rare candies now. But fortunately though, Sydney is not one of the hard fights, and I'm able to take out his whole team thanks to Dragon Claw, Thunderbolt, and Hidden Power Ice. Next up is the Ghost-type Elite Four member Phoebe. On her Dusclops, I like to use setup moves turn 1 because it almost always goes for Protect. I use 1 Bulk Up, and then I use Hidden Power Ghost to take it out in 1 hit. Hidden Power Ghost is also great for the Phoebe battle, but if I don't have Hidden Power Ghost, I could just use Earthquake on everything because none of her Pokemon have Levitate, unlike Agatha in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, so Earthquake is actually a good answer here. But I don't need to worry about that, I completely destroy your team with Hidden Power. Question though, do you really expect Kyogre to struggle at Phoebe? I use a Calm Mind turn 1 because the Dusclops likes to use Protect, and then I knock it out with Surf, I knock the Banette out with Surf, as well as her other Banette, including her Sableye and her second Dusclops. Dusclops is honestly one of the most bulky Pokemon in the game. It almost always survives a hit, so the fact that Kyogre can knock it out without using rare candies is just impressive. However though, let's see how Rayquaza does it, Phoebe. Instead of Hidden Power Ghost or Surf boosted by the rain, I just have Crunch. I pretty much just spam Crunch on everything. Although I have to be careful on the Dusclops because of their ability Pressure. If they stall Protect enough times, it can actually cause me to run out of Crunches, but luckily that doesn't happen and I sweep her whole team. Alright, now for the next Elite Four member, Glacia. Groudon could theoretically struggle with Glacia because Groudon is weak to ice moves, but we'll see how it goes. On the first turn I go for Earthquake, knocking out the Celio in one hit before it can set up Hail. And then for the Glalie, I use Earthquake for the one-shot. The Celio is a one-shot as well. And now onto our second more powerful Glalie. It cannot survive an Earthquake either. And then the Walrein actually could survive an Earthquake, but I get a critical hit on it, so I'm able to just one-shot her entire team. So yeah, never mind then. Now it's Kyogre's turn. On her Celio, I go for a Thunder, which never misses like I stated before due to the rain being up. And then on the Glalie, I use Surf for the one-shot, and then for her other Celio and Walrein, I just use Thunder, and then for her second Glalie, I just use Surf. Okay, now is Rayquaza's turn. Oh boy, hopefully Rayquaza can do this. On her Celio, I go for a Thunderbolt, which knocks it out in a single hit. Alright, so Thunderbolt will make her part water types easy. Then on the Glalie, I'm able to knock out her weaker one with Dragon Claw. Okay, that's good, hopefully I can knock out the stronger one. The Celio gets knocked out like I predicted, and then on the level 52 Glalie, it unfortunately lives at very low red health, but luckily it wastes its one turn just going for Hail, so I'm able to just spam more Dragon Claws, and then once she stops spamming full restores, I am actually able to get the range, knock it out with Dragon Claw, and then on the Walrein, I go for Thunderbolt, knocking it out. So, if it chose to go for Ice Beam instead of Hail, that would have done a lot more damage. I think I would have been fine though, but you never know. Now for Drake, the Dragon-type specialist. Shelgon goes for Protect, so I use this time to set up Bulk Up, and then the Shelgon goes for Protect again, and then once it stops going for Protect, I can knock it out with Return. Now for the Kingdra, I just go for Earthquake, which shall do more damage than Return due to the same type attack bonus, so one Earthquake knocks it out. Then on the Altaria, I obviously can't use Earthquake because it's a flying type, so I switch to Return. Then on the Flygon, it has Levitate, so I stick to Return. And then his final Pokemon is Salamence. It's obviously a flying type, so I don't use Earthquake, I just stick to Return. It actually lives because its Intimidate canceled out my Bulk Up. And then unfortunately, a second Return leaves it at like 1 HP or something. So I just keep spamming Return and hope I get the hits, and eventually I do get the hits, and I can move on from the Elite Four. But before we can talk about the champion though, we have to talk about Drake with Kyogre and Rayquaza. On the Shelgon, I go for Calm Mind turn 1 because it likes to use Protect, and then I misclick and go for Thunder on Shelgon, and it's able to get off a Rock Tomb, lowering my speed. I actually get my senses together and go for Ice Beam. I level up to level 54, and then Altaria is 4 times weak to Ice, so Ice Beam completely destroys it. And then on our Kingdra, it is not weak to Ice, but I just keep spamming Ice Beam anyway. It lives in red health, but luckily he doesn't use a full restore on it, so I'm able to knock it out in 2 hits. And then both the Flygon and the Salamence that follow are 4 times weak to Ice, so no need to worry about either of them. Theoretically though, Rayquaza could have a difficult time with Drake because Dragon is weak to Dragon, but the thing is, I have Dragon Claw too. I can use super effective damage. Plus, I have Hidden Power Ice if I need it, which a 4 times super effective Hidden Power effectively does more damage than a regular super effective Dragon Claw. But when I do get to the Kingdra though, which he sends out last, I switch over to Dragon Claw, which will obviously do more. But Kingdra is pretty bulky. Can I knock it out in 1 hit? I do, and I can move on to the champion, Wallace. Wallace starts out with a Wailord, and the first thing I do with Groudon is use a single Bulk Up, and then Wailord uses a Rain Dance to get rid of the sun. Unfortunately, my ability only activates once per battle, so the sunlight is gone. The reason I say that's bad is because the sunlight halved the damage of water type moves, so I'm gonna have to move on with potentially Wallace's Pokemon doing double damage to me. But fortunately, I'm getting tons of 1-hits with Earthquake, and I move on to his Milotic, which has lower defense than special defense, so 1 Earthquake knocks it out. I get to level 65, I deny the chance to learn Solar Beam because it's just too late for it to be useful, and then I one-shot his Ludicolo with Return. And now is his final Pokemon, the Gyarados. It uses Intimidate, canceling out my Bulk Up, and then it hits me with Surf, and I'm able to knock it out with a second return. And Groudon has beaten Pokemon Emerald with a final time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 45 seconds, with 4 resets at level 65, and a game time at the Hall of Fame of 4 hours and 52 minutes. That is not a bad time at all. Let's see how Rayquaza does here, because Rayquaza is not in first place right now. Theoretically, Rayquaza can have a difficult time with Wallace because 3 of his Pokemon does have Ice Beam, and due to the better AI in Gen 3, he'll send out those 3 Pokemon first before everybody else. On his Wailord though, it's a simple one-shot with Thunderbolt. It does have Blizzard, but I don't have to worry about that. Then on the Tentacruel, it actually survives a Thunderbolt just barely, because Tentacruel has very high special defense, and then Rayquaza gets frozen, and then 2 more Ice Beams and a Sludge Bomb actually finishes Rayquaza off. So that is Rayquaza's first reset in the entire run, and it's all because of a freeze. On the second attempt, I used Thunderbolt on the Tentacruel. It hits me with Ice Beam, doing less than half, and then after a couple more Thunderbolts, I'm able to take it out. The next Pokemon is Milotic. This is the last Pokemon he has with Ice Beam. Unfortunately though, Thunderbolt isn't enough to one-shot the Milotic, and then its second Ice Beam actually knocks me out. This is a problem. The only way I can see myself winning at this point is if one of the Thunderbolts either paralyzes, preventing the opponent from moving, or getting a critical hit. Because the thing is, I can survive 1 Ice Beam, but not 2. So yeah, Rayquaza has a very difficult time with the champion, but 7 resets into the run, I get past the Tentacruel, getting hit with 1 Ice Beam, and then on the Milotic, I go for Thunderbolt and it gets a critical hit, so it's not able to kill me with Ice Beam. Okay, that's very good. The Gyarados following is a one-shot with Thunderbolt. The rest of his Pokemon do not have ice moves, so I don't need to worry about that. Then the Ludicolo is a 2-shot with Dragon Claw, despite it trying to use a double team. And then finally is his Whiscash. I use Dragon Claw, I'm able to take it out thanks to a critical hit, and Rayquaza has beaten Pokemon Emerald with a time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 42 seconds, with 7 resets at level 68, and a game time at the Hall of Fame of 4 hours and 39 minutes. That is a much lower game time than Groudon, but Rayquaza now has more resets than Groudon did. But we're still not through this yet. We gotta see how Kyogre handles Wallace, and then we can go over the final results. Before I take on Wallace, I use all of my rare candies to get me to level 60, and now I have the move Sheer Cold, because this move might come in handy for a couple of his Pokemon as a backup strat, and besides, I didn't need Ice Beam anymore. I use 1 Calm Mind and knock out his Wailord in 1 hit, and then on the Ludicolo, I get a 1 hit with Sheer Cold, which is only a 34% chance to land, because it was not going to be able to go down to a Thunder. So I try and go for Sheer Cold just for fun, and it gets a 1 hit. The Milotic is a 1 hit with Thunder. Then on the Whiscash, I go for Surf, knocking it out in 1 single hit. And finally is his Gyarados. Thunder just completely destroys a whole family of Gyarados. And then Kyogre levels up to level 61, and Kyogre finishes the game with a time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 35 seconds, with 0 resets at level 61, with a game time at the Hall of Fame of 4 hours and 36 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure most of you could have predicted these results. Kyogre is the very clear winner of this race. What I wasn't expecting was Rayquaza to get last place, but just barely. It struggled with Wallace a lot harder than I thought he would. Like, I needed a critical hit or a paralysis on one of his Ice-type users. Now that I think about it, I probably should have gotten the TM for Thunder, because despite its accuracy, maybe Thunder would have been enough to one-shot the Tentacruel, and even if it doesn't one-shot the Milotic, I can survive 1 Ice Beam but not 2. So I think if I had remembered to go get Thunder, I probably could have won, but then again, Thunderbolt was barely able to one-shot the Tentacool. Like, it was so low, I thought it was a range. Maybe if I had just gotten like a couple more levels, maybe come here at level 70, it could have gotten a better time, but oh well, these results still stay because these are still very good results. Because if you take a look at our Pokemon Emerald leaderboard, all 3 of the racers in today's race did better than everything else I've ever done. It's beaten Starmie, Jirachi, Ivysaur, Arbok, Skipplume, Aggron, Latios, Lileep, and Magcargo, which is every other Emerald Pokemon I've done so far. Starmie actually itself had a really impressive time due to learning a bunch variety of attack, but the fact that all 3 of our contenders are in the top 3 by over 15 minutes at least is very, very good. So I'm not going to hold Rayquaza's results against it. Not many Pokemon are going to be able to beat this thing. Obviously except for Groudon and Kyogre. I hope y'all enjoyed that race, everybody. The first 3 generations were definitely very interesting to do races in, but we still have Generation 4 and Generation 5. The next Versus race for the Speedrunner 028 December Mania will be Pokemon Pearl with the Sinnoh starters, Torterra, Infernape, and Empoleon. This will definitely be quite a fascinating race. I hope y'all enjoy it. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow my socials or support me on Patreon or YouTube memberships. Links are down below. Thank y'all for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.